So I was reading the news, Anthony, and Beyond Meats just had a Q3 earnings. Now, the good news
Wait.
of
So
yes,
Beyond Meats is Impossible, but another brand, right? It's just plant-based meats.
yes, okay, good. Yeah, I think for coconuts out there and for our readers, listeners, sorry, readers, Beyond Meats is a sort of plant-based company. They create burgers and patties, rather. They're creating chicken, all these plant-based meats. They started off with the Beyond Meats burger patties, and now they're trying to move to chicken as well. Their competitor is Impossible, so I think we have heard of the Impossible Burger, right?
Yep. Yeah. So okay. So well, I see them around now. Their earnings have been great, right? I
They
mean,
are
we are in
sorry.
Singapore. We are in Singapore. We are far from the US, but we still see these products. I assume their earnings were fantastic.
Yes, yes. We do see these products. We see them in the NTUC as well. Don't forget, right? The
Oh
revenue
wow,
did
even
see
in
growth
TFC.
though. Yeah, you can buy the frozen Beyond Meats burger patties.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep,
Cool.
yep. Same with Impossible and so on and so forth. They are there, but it doesn't contribute to a lot of their revenue. Most of their revenue comes from restaurants and all of these things, right? Actually, if you go to like Over Easy and all these bars now actually have it. But yes, so their revenue growth is. Sorry, my mic dropped. The revenue growth is growing, right? So it grew actually 13% from last year. So it's now currently at 106 million, right, for Q3. So which is pretty good. Unfortunately, that's where all the that's where all the good news stops, right? We saw a drop in share price as soon as they announced Q3 earnings, right? And the main reason was because there was net loss of 54 million, which is actually 3 times Q3. So last year. So think about it this way, right? Revenue gained 13%, but their net loss was 3x what they had last year,
What did they do?
right? Yeah, exactly. What did they do? I think just before we jump into that though, and one other thing though that caused this share price to drop was the fact that the management has reduced their forecast for Q4 and for the next year. So they don't have a lot of expectation in terms of companies or growth, which
Mm-hmm.
obviously allowed the share price to drop, right, by quite a fair bit. What exactly happened was that they invested in a lot of R&D. They started spending cash. They started to expand quickly without proper understanding of the market. Is what I'm thinking
Okay.
here, right? So let's put it this way: they they blew up in 2019, right? Them and
Yeah.
Impossible together with other companies, right? It was like the thing. Hey, have you tried the new plant-based burger? I can't believe it's not meat, etc., etc. So they grew actually 219% in 2019. In 2020, they grew only 36%, right?
Okay.
And in 2021 now, where they're expected to grow something like 13 to 16%. You can see it like a downward trend, right? And the
That's. I
forecast
mean,
is not looking
this
great.
is a growth company, right? It's not. It's an unsaturated market. They should be winning market share, and it's a huge TAM, and all of those junk that you growth investors believe in, right?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
going on? Why is this so low?
Yeah, and it's a bit weird as well, right? It's also the fact that, this whole plant-based thing, sustainability has been popping up for the last few years, right, with EVs and stuff like this. And this is definitely the food alternatives with regards to, methane from beef and all of that we do
Yeah.
get. So we do see that trend, and that trend is there, but their profits isn't actually somehow working out. And here's partly the reason why, right? They have had collabs with McDonald's, they've had collabs with KFC, and now they're also having collabs with Pizza Hut. Now let me break this down for you. McDonald's, they launched a plant-based burger in Europe and in like 8 locations in the US. However,
Okay.
the beef is selling better in McDonald's than the plant-based burger when they tried it out at those locations,
Well, naturally,
right?
right? I mean,
I mean,
you don't go to McDonald's and go, I'm vegetarian today. I want McDonald's, but vegetarian. Come on.
yeah. Yes, so that's one. And to the point where McDonald's isn't actually scaling their business as well. They're like, you know what, we've got this. We may turn it down, but we'll see how it goes, right? So they still say like,
Okay.
hey, okay, we'll see how it goes. But
It's still
there
testing
hasn't
and they
been
haven't
much
rolled it out.
testing. But I'm pretty sure McDonald's got their eyes set on something else. And with
Impossible.
KFC, yeah, so maybe Impossible, maybe not, right? But with KFC, now, good. One thing I want to note here is that when Beyond Meats first came out, they started off only with beef. So fake beef, in other words. Now
Mm.
they've sort of expanded to fake chicken. And so they managed to get a collab with KFC to roll out their plant-based nuggets. All right.
Okay.
So KFC, this was, I believe, in a few months ago, and they were testing it out. However, KFC mentioned that they are not going to make it nationwide. So this is in the US, right?
Yep.
It's only within a few locations and they're not expanding because they don't see the value, right? Of
Okay.
course,
So
right? What Beyond Meats is saying is that, oh, it's still being tested. We'll see how it goes, but they're definitely going to scale,
yep.
right? Of course, with McDonald's there, with KFC there doesn't seem to be much uptake because people go to KFC for the chicken, maybe not, and not probably not for the plant-based meats, right? And same thing for McDonald's. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I
What
completely
do you?
agree. I mean, if I'm vegetarian, I would not think about going to KFC for a meal. Seriously, right? Like, come on, what were they thinking? I mean, yes, maybe they wanted a volume-based business, right? Because if you could go with McDonald's or KFC nationwide in the US or even globally, that's huge market, right? And just
Mm.
even just taking 10% of their sales would be fantastic, but doesn't seem to be working out, unfortunately. So maybe it's time to move on. I guess I don't know. Is has management kind of given any indication on where they think they're going?
So, as far as I know and understand from KFC is that it's still in the testing phase. They will review it when it's the end of the testing phase, and then they'll decide. Right? This is what I read. But that said, they have one more collab, Pizza Hut, right? And this is about to
Okay.
launch, as far as I know, where they're going to put the fake meats on pizzas.
Yep.
And this one, I have no data whether it's working or not. So we'll have to wait and see maybe for Q4 earnings call or Q1 next year. But from what you understand at McDonald's and KFC, it just doesn't make sense, right? Why are they targeting the fast food industry? Why are they targeting the gourmet industry?
Exactly. Right. I mean, they are they're probably putting their eggs in a basket, but the fast food basket, which is. I mean, I can't make sense of it. Hopefully management does, but it seems like I'm right and they are wrong. So too bad. And the market agrees with me.
Yes, so that's one, right? And also that said, what I'm thinking about as well, and this is my takeaway, right, for coconuts listening out there, was it just a big hype that we saw in 2019? Was it just a big hype that we saw in 2020, right? Of course, Beyond Meats mentioned and started to blame the pandemic during the earnings call. I said like, oh, nobody's going to fast food, nobody's going to the restaurants, therefore we sold less burgers. Now, I don't think that's necessarily true because a lot of people have been either dining out or getting food taken in back to their homes, right? Here in Singapore, in the US, Europe, everywhere. And some restaurants actually reduced their capacity and opened up a cloud kitchen because guess what? It was more profitable. And they see this as the new norm. So if that was really the way that was going to be working out, the would not suppliers such as plant-based or in this case Beyond Meats would not be losing out at all. What I do know as well is that part of their losses was because of the increase of the soy and all the different stuff they use to make the patty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's any business, right? Everybody has that cost increases. Yeah, I mean, look, I think management can give excuses all they want, but I think that takeaway is right. That there's just been a bit of a deflation in the hype, or rather, reality has come in, and that the hype just didn't measure up to the hype, right? I mean,
Mm.
the meat market is great. Maybe somebody will replace all of these with plant-based products one day because that's necessary for the environment, but at least on the current trajectory, it's not Beyond Meats that's going to be the winner here.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I don't know about the industry as well. Impossible Foods, by the way, its competitor also came up with a chicken thing, but fake chicken. But I really see this as a hype thing, right? It was a big hype, right? Oh, it's very cool, right? The Temasek invested in all of them, etc., etc. Everyone's making money. But are there even better growths out there, right? Like okay, I hate to say it, but Tesla or EV, or last week we spoke about
Come
Rivian,
on.
right?
Oh, did you see the Ribbon share price is doubled? Dude, we
I
should have
know.
gotten on that.
Yes, we should have gone in.
It's insane. Okay, yeah, but back to Beyond, it's terrible. It's beyond terrible. Let's just skip this.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, coconuts for you listening out there, do take a note. of this. I honestly think there's better options out there. We have to see how this is going. I think it will be sustainable, but at a normal level, right?
Yeah.
And I don't see it as a big hype that it first was in like 2019, 2020.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think, this has really been a bit of a black mark against the management in terms of execution, right? They managed to get a high valuation, but they couldn't really execute against it. So unless they can show something to prove otherwise, I think maybe it's best to skip this for now, as compelling as the story might be.